Greetings, dear ones. Nice to see you back again here. Today, I just want to share some beautiful insights about forgiveness. Some beautiful insights in the sense, some practicalities, some myths that revolve around it, some realities, and as to even understanding what exactly this forgiveness is about, because we talk about it a lot. On and often, it comes in our life where we realize that many of our life issues are because of non-forgiveness. Non-forgiveness, generally we talk about thinking or saying that it is something that I am unable to let go. So I am unable to let go, I am unable to release some past memory or something, some incident with a person or place or thing which I am unable to release from my so-called memory, and which is thus remaining there as some negative emotion and creating lot of obstacle, challenges and hurdles in my life. So this is how the definition of forgiveness goes, which is very true. This is exactly how it is, how bonding it can be, and how we can be in living in bondage. So this I am again reflecting it directly from my life incidences, how I have studied this, how I have been exposed to this, and how I have dealt with this, and how they cause problems, and how one can come out of it very practically. Though it may seem little impossible and difficult, but eventually I because I can see from my life journey, most of the issues that I have been able to solve was due to this beautiful aspect of forgiveness. My superhero was always Jesus Christ, because I adored him for the ability to forgive somebody who can cause so much pain and suffering, and including death, but still one has the courage, all the mighty heart to have compassion towards that being, even in that state of such turmoil. And forgiveness, that was he was always my superhero, is and will always be in regarding to forgiveness. So, and I have often learned very closely Jesus Christ's life, because he has been my superhero and my ideal always. And that's how I came into many paths and many places, many mistakes, who adored this quality of forgiveness. Especially my master, what I fell in love with him for was this beautiful quality of compassion, understanding, kindness, and the ability to let go and look beyond any person. And when one is able to do that, it's easy to become non-judgmental, non-critical, and it's very liberating. And that's how all the mystics are liberated. So my focus on my master when I met him, and how I fell in love with him, was because of this major quality of his teachings on based on that. I don't believe it was anything else, because I have not related with any kind of activity, like for example the rituals or any other kind of methods. I have never been able to do in my life. Neither was I able to do when I was with and around him, and he was perfectly okay with it, because he could see why I am unable to do, and he never told me this is important or that is important. He in fact he used to just speak to me about Jesus Christ and his teachings and the teachings of the mystics, and very liberating thoughts and insights. So I was always in love with him for that aspect of him. So anyways, and that's how I gained a lot from him. I experimented on my life his teaching, especially the forgiveness aspect, and it worked a great deal. So as I proceeded on this soul journey, I could see that there was a lot of confusion, because I was also bumping into a lot of other people who were also in a mode of feeling stuck with their life or life challenges, especially related to forgiveness. Because if you see, a larger aspect, very large percentage of our life is related to forgiveness. It is the inability to let go which creates a lot of problems for us. Not only for us, it continues creating problem for others also. This is where, because we hold grudges, we are unable to let go. So I am going a little deep for us to understand what is this forgiveness about, because it's easy to just talk. I might just say forgive and release and you will be free. But how many of you can do it? I have seen in my life how difficult it is. There are some aspects within me, even still I can see how difficult it is. But a larger aspect of all those bondages which I have come out of, especially my past life, in this lifetime only, all the traumas that I was associated with, due to which I came into spirituality, was because of the victim mode, because a lot of things happened to me continuously, and I felt life as unjustified. And then when I first walked into the space of Ganeshpuri, if you do not know, Ganeshpuri is a mystical place, it's a divine place in Maharashtra, and which is where my turning point happened. From ignorance and from pain and suffering, suddenly there was peace when I entered into that hall called Kailash Nivas, where is very close by is the samadhi of this great mystic called Bhagwan Nityananda. He left his body in 1961, but I didn't know of all this because I am from a Christian background, Roman Catholic background, and I had no hopes in this, but my feet somehow, very divinely guided, took me there. Probably it was supposed to happen. Probably why I know it now. I know it's those days it was probably. And then I sat at his chair where we used to sit and do Shaktipat, and mystical things happened. I don't want to go into that details. I've spoken about it many times. But the only voice that I heard from my inner voice, I don't know, it was outer voice, inner voice, but crystal clear that I heard was forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. That was all that I was hearing, and this was a time when I was very deeply depressed, very angered, full of resentment and vengefulness against my back then better half, who had and whose family had given me a good separation and divorce, and which ultimately led to lot of pain and turmoil. Because of some incompatibility, this happened, and I owe 100% responsibility for it. I'm not blaming them for it. Now, those days I was blaming, and I was very bad shape that this has happened to me. And I went there and I'm sitting and I'm contemplating on going for a legal battle, how to get even with that person and all that, and how to get my child in the custody and all that stuff. So, and I sit there in complete depression, and I had walked there in time because I was very suicidal at that time. And then this voice that I hear from within, forgive. This is for a reason to happen. There is a reason for this to happen. Forgive. Let go. Hold no grudges. Let it go. This is bound to happen. Repeatedly, these only, you can call it loud thoughts within me, which I never heard it all these days. Very clearly, let go. Release. Forget it. And do nothing. Not just forgive. Do nothing. Do no harm to anybody. Because it was meant to happen. It was always very clear to me there while I was sitting. It is meant to happen. I couldn't understand anything of this philosophy, because after Jesus Christ, this is the first time I was hearing this inner voice in me. So I thought, okay, maybe some Christ philosophy only going on and all those things. I came back, and then lot of things happened in my life one by one. After many months, I met my master whom I took initiation from, and then the journey continued and all that. But all I am saying is, the whole process of this journey was about releasing and forgiving. I believe, it's my strong belief now when I look back, that I was led by this great mystic from some other astral dimension to my physical guru, my master, for only this main purpose of clearing of this clutter which I had accumulated very strong. And this was one of the strongest karmic connection I had, probably the last one of this Janma, which was supposed to bring me back to my real purpose of life, and which was again the main purpose of me wandering off from the spiritual path. I had mentioned this in one video, that after a lot of practices, I gained insight into one of my past life, where I see the person who hurt me this time, I had done horrible things to that person. And that is the time everything justified itself, and I said, oh my God, this is happening for a reason. And I was more thankful now when I came back from that insight. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, God, that I have got so much less in terms of what I have actually done to that person. When I see and I understand and I realize what I have done, my God, I'm saying, and then I find myself very fortunate. Till now I was feeling unfortunate. Now I begin to feel I'm fortunate enough that life has given me this. I believe that was some grace that actually altered. And I said, okay, this is how it is. And I start moving in the journey further. All this I'm talking about forgiveness. Okay, today's video is all on that. And then as I'm moving, still those hurt comes, still some thoughts come, still some unjustified things comes, and as a normal human being, I react to it, and all those things happen. And for many years, it's going one by one. Then again, I get an insight after a couple of years or something. I don't remember how long, that once upon a time I was in a certain state of evolution, a very heightened state, and it was probably a yogic body, and this person in my this lifetime was the cause of my tumbling from that state to down, because that person had made something, I don't want to get into details, done something which I fell for and I tumbled down, something like the Adam and Eve story. and then and then this person loved me so dearly, or loves me so dearly, because I'm talking about the soul. The soul loves so dearly that in between the death state, interlife or inter-death, what you call after death, and between the next life, the state, the suspended state, it becomes very clear to us of what we have done and how we are going to clear this karmic debt. And then a vow is taken by this other being, because of that unconditional love, that the feeling of guilt that I brought this person down, now I am going to put this person back. And that's how I had this relationship in this lifetime, which ended up in so-called tragedy, which was bound to happen that way. And when it happened, the deal was completed, the agreement, the interlife agreement, I will put back this person to track. That's what exactly and precisely happened when I came back into the journey and started going back, reversing back from all the place that I traveled down from, and the journey is still on. This is not some dramatic story. It's a real life incident. I know many will find it very difficult to believe, but why I'm telling you this is, there's a reason I'm telling you the story. It's not for storytelling or some fun. It is to tell you the aspect of this forgiveness and where all this damage and hurt actually comes from. They follow us from lifetime to lifetime. It's a karmic debt. There are many reasons which we cannot see. And it was only later I realized why that voice in Ganeshpuri, which I believe was Bhagavan Nityananda's, said to me very clearly, forgive, there is a reason to it, do not avenge. Do not try to take revenge. That time it didn't make any sense for many years, but it took a couple of years, maybe probably I think around 6-7 years, for me to come to this realization of, oh my God, this is what happened in Ganeshpuri. So this is what the voice meant. And everything, as in the journey, things opened up one by one, and everything was a chain, it was connecting all the dots one by one, and everything was clear. The mystery was like sorted out. And from that point, I could understand what this forgiveness is about. Because once you realize the unconditional love, when I realized the unconditional love of that being, sacrificing a lifetime just to come and play this drama and get into so much of suffering. Like for example, if that person, the other person, has not realized this, I'm sure it is immense suffering. It is immense suffering. Then also there was suffering, because I know we both were suffering. So that person, I don't know, currently, maybe it's in a turmoil or whatever that is. But I'm telling you, that's a huge sacrifice for somebody to do. Now, how many of us can relate to this? How many of us can understand when life throws us such problems? How can we go deep into this and see that the helplessness state of the other person who's hurting us? Many times this happens. They are helpless. They don't even know. Today I was having a personal consultation where I was talking on the same subject. So I revealed in certain way while talking. I told the parent of that person was very bothersome, and that all major trauma was related to that parent, and that inability to even talk to that parent, and because they didn't want to offend. But the main culprit in that person's inner being was the parent, which this was the second consultation. In the earlier consultation, when I was trying to reveal, the person said, no, it's nothing to do, it's okay. But it became very evident in this session. Then we went deeper and deeper. And finally, the person only said, yes, this is the cause. Then I was trying to tell, look, there are so many conditions. Look at the helplessness of that state of that parent also, because they don't know. You are aware. I am aware. We are all aware. We are all aware. We are spiritual beings. We have been on this path of awareness. We are conscious beings. We have learnt in spirituality. And if we don't understand this, from where is the other person functioning? There will be an inability to forgive. It's impossible to forgive unless you rise to this level of consciousness where you can see things at this level. So my attempt was to raise the awareness of that person to that level, and it did happen. By the end of the session, it did happen. It was very crystal clear, and now it was clear what has to be done, because most of the time we do not know what is to be done. In our life, we do not know where we are stuck. What is the root cause? We think it is not this, it is somewhere else, but deep down it is this. So when we connect the dots, which I do in my personal sessions, is when we find out this thing. So I am trying to share about my life incident only, about how this thing happened. And this pattern can continue with many life incidents. So on and often I have got these incidents in my life, repeated in various ways, even after that, even after realizing and being able to forgive. Now forgiveness, according to me, I have tried to forgive. From my mind, I forgive. You have done this wrong to me, I forgive you, I'll do it. It can never happen. I have tried it. Thinking about it to forgive, it cannot happen. However big heart you make, you might feel very beautiful at that time, oh, I have forgiven, but later on, it will trigger you again. Why? Because we have not understood what is that forgiveness about. These things, if you understand that the cause of my misery is myself, if what somebody has done to me is my own karmic account that has come back to me, I have done something horrible, something. And when we understand, okay, that person is living out that person's karma unknowingly, because that person is not doing it purposely. That person is doing it because under the influence of the karmic account, and this is happening. So that person is unconscious. And the immense suffering even that person is undergoing. See the fun. Anybody you are unable to forgive if somebody has done harm to, don't think that person is very happy. That person also is boiling within. So when we have two parties who are angry with each other, there are two parties who are boiling inside. The one will not know what is going on the other side, but this is obviously happening. So this forgiveness game, I call this game because it's not as easy as a play. It's not a child play, I will tell you, nor it is something rocket science. It just needs a little dissection from your awareness. What I teach on awareness on this platform is just to dissect. We are all just like spiritual scientists, when we are placed with something, we immediately go dissecting deep into it. It is called inner shadow work, which I am very much focused on. I have done a lot of inner shadow work on myself. I am doing it because there is no end to it. I keep on doing it, and this is what I encourage people to do also, and that's how I assist people. Inner shadow work, it is called. Our inner ignorances, everything happens because of that. The person was asking, should I go and find out what happened in my womb, beyond the womb? I said, what are you going to do even if you know what has happened in the womb? The inner child healing, I do that, but I don't recommend it for everybody. I don't recommend it for very mature souls. I guide them how to actually overlook these things by getting into deep awareness. You can just dissolve it. You did not go into that drama of inner child healing. That's all dramatic. It's very dramatic when you go and you think about it, you go into a certain trance state, and then you find out, oh, this was happened, my dad did this to me in the womb, or somebody did this to me, or suddenly all those memories which you never even remembered in my childhood, oh, my uncle did this to me, my aunt said this to me, I was abused in this manner, I had forgotten this. See what has happened. You have brought out all the muck now. That's pleasurable to see. And you might do something there, to curb it out and all. But when you come into actual practical living, you come back with those memories. You are already in the ego consciousness where you are so vengeful and hateful and so frustrated and depressed, and you wanted to get even. And in that state, you go and do this deep probing into what happened in the womb, into your childhood. And then you come up with this, and then it's messed up. From my personal life experiences, I'm saying it's messed up. So I don't advise it to people, nor I do it for anybody, because this person was insisting on doing a inner child healing. I said no, let me decide that. You might say all that because we want drama. This is what I said. To Don't get me wrong, dear ones. Okay, I have to speak some words very in a raw format so that it hits you. Really, it should knock you like a stone hits you. What am I doing? It's like a drama, because most of the time we like to twist and turn, and we like to have some dramatic effects in our inner journey, because then that gives us some satisfaction of having done something. The doer will feel that I went and did this, I went and healed this, I went and removed this, uprooted this, let me go and uproot. There is that I-ness, that let me go and. Rather, there are simple ways to do it. Just living a life of awareness and dissolving things, looking at it. I don't mean just going into non-reaction. Non-reaction will not happen until the hurt is there. But there are many other aspects of life where you begin living in that state. Most of your issues start dissolving. And if you live continuously in certain awareness and practicing that kind of present moment living and joyful and all that, you will see that after a certain time, when you even want to probe into it, you will not be able to. You have forgiven. Something has forgiven from within. Who? Because you have handed your life to the divine will and you are moving. Your free will is that I want to release this. I want to heal myself. And the divine will is you are placing it. Okay, I'll do whatever possible I can, but I'm not going to brood over it. I'm not going to go and investigate and play the role of a hero, trying to slaughter all those memories and all that things. Not needed. For me at least, not needed. So as I relax back and look at more of those things which can dissolve. What are those things? My life in awareness. But what I told you, all these things, vengeance, hatred, selfishness, the anger, the resentment, where does this sprout from? This sprouts from ego consciousness. Ego consciousness is what? Separatedness. Separated identity from all this. I am separate being. The moment I am separate, then there is a punisher and the punished. What do you call? An abuser and the abused. All this begin happening. So when you dissolve more into that oneness spirit, in living in awareness, you start dissolving into that oneness. The duality starts reducing. Duality reduction means ego reduction. More of oneness means ego reduction. More of ego reduction means more of these branches of that tree. The tree is the ego. Then the branches are resentment, hatred, jealousy, anger, revenge. All these things. So, I'm not saying this will happen overnight. And I always tell this, don't be very impractical. The best way I'm telling you to approach, today also I have said, don't think about I have little time left because I have to achieve liberation in this life and all these things. Many people get stuck in that. Okay. I'm just telling, if you are that. If you are not that, it's okay. If you think that you are going to end up everything and finish up everything this time, then believe me, you'll have a lot in your plate. More than you can digest. You'll take on all the things and want to finish it as soon as possible. And when you see that as soon as possible it is not going, you'll turn remorse. It will become horrible for you. Frustration. Because one side, time is running out. Where is my moksha? And these things are there. This is not still better than that. One practical advice I give is, go in such a way that, let me dissolve, let it take this whole lifetime. Whatever work I have to do on myself. Don't be in a hurry. Let the world expect perfection out of you. Let them expect that, this person is still having this person is still. Don't worry about all that. I have not worried about it. I don't call myself as a perfect being. I never consider myself as a pure being. Whenever somebody puts a comment, I said, no, you don't know me. I know myself. I'm not pure. I'm still on the journey. I'm doing it. But I'm not working in such a way that, I'm not waiting for myself to become perfect. And then turn back and tell the world, this is how you attain perfection. Because I believe, as I walk my journey, I can influence many lives. Because that is what the people are living. Practical lives. The practical struggles of a seeker. So if a seeker is giving them the advantage of looking into other lives and seeing how another seeker is looking at these perspectives, which maybe they are not seeing, they will have an enlightened vision of, oh yeah, this can be done. And it helped. And believe me, it has helped. It is helping people. And I'm very, very happy that I get this opportunity to do before going into that perfect state. Today I had put a post that, we are always learners. My master used to always tell, be always learner, because that's what Lord Dattatreya indicated. Be always learning from every single thing, all the time. There is nothing called perfection. I perfected, I have done it. That state of perfection is such that you will not even talk about it, that I am perfect. The talking ends, the teaching ends. Many people don't take it in this manner. Listen carefully. The teaching ends. The learning also ends when you are perfect. Perfected being means completely eradicated of all karmas. All the gunas gone. When you are nirguna, how can you teach? How can you learn? That is the state of a perfected being called avadhuta. They are no learners, no teachers. They are not bothered with any action. They are not influenced by any guna or any karmic account which make their actions. Their actions are meaningless. It's spontaneous what happens. Because they are not influenced by anything. So because that influence is not there, the mind is absent, the ego is absent, there is nothing for them to do. The teaching comes from doership. What I am doing right now, teaching, it comes from a doership. Because this is not a perfected state. So if I reach that perfected state, my teaching will stop. I will dissolve. That is how Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi used to see. Bhagavan Nityananda, look at them. Nisargadatta Maharaj, always in silence. Very rare occasions when they were provoked on certain subjects, they spoke. Bhagavan Nityananda, for six months he has not spoken, it's recorded. And then when he spoke, he used to speak a little. All that compilations people have done. So that is a perfect state where there is no teaching, no learning also. There is nothing to learn, nothing to teach. So I believe to wait till that thing happens is too late for me. So I began this, and I have not begun it now. I have not begun it just now. I began sharing my journey, teaching people. I have been into teaching many people since all decades. And what I am trying to say is we all can do that. We don't have to wait for us to become perfect, because we will never become that perfect. Probably not in this lifetime. That's what I was trying. I am coming to that point. The hurry of finishing everything in this lifetime so that I can do my passion. I had always this passion to share my life and to encourage others, enlighten others, awaken others, share all these things with others, insights into others, and help them as soon as possible. So if I would have kept this pending for my perfect stage, maybe I would have not attained perfections in this lifetime. So my soul agenda is gone for a toss, and then I have to come back for it. This is another reason why I incarnate again. Are you seeing it? This practical spirituality, what I am trying to tell you. So I do it as I walk, okay, with my own imperfections. So it doesn't mean that people can't understand and can't relate. They can relate. People know what to catch, what to not to catch, and all that. But your being is very important. Once your being is there, and you, like for example, I'm sharing all this life journey. I'm sure you can immediately relate it with so many aspects of your life, relationships of your life where you have not been able to forgive. Suddenly your mind will go, okay, there is a karmic account with this person. So what could I have done? There is no need to understand the story, because today I was telling the person, I wanted to know what. I'm telling what does it mean? How does it affect? Whether you know that story or not. That story is again drama, I called you, ego consciousness. That ego consciousness want to know. What is that drama all about? So that I can have little more fun in that, and be stuck in it and victimize again, injustify. It's all catch. Don't go for that. Whatever the story, what I'm trying to tell is, just know that. Just know that there is a karmic account related. What things are happening to you has a reason. So if it is happening, the first thing, the most mature thing to do is take responsibility. Okay, this is happening. Fine. There must be something to it. I'm not keen. My idea is now how to clear off that karmic debt by letting go, by releasing, by cutting off. And how do I do that? By going within and contemplating on this in these deep senses and seeing how that person is also stuck in the karmic miseries, how that person also is unable to relate, how much helpless that person, how much suffering that person also is undergoing. When you go into this, oh no, I must have done something to that person. Without that, why will that person do? When you contemplate on this very deeply, slowly you will see that your heart will start melting down. And in that state of meditation, now you start to forgive. It will happen. Repeatedly do this. It will happen. And it's okay if you are cutting off from people when you do that. Many people cut off because there is incompatibility. Friends cut off. Divorces happen. Separations happen. All this happen because compatibility is not there. 1 second. Now, why does that separateness happen? Why does divorces happen? Why do people separate? Because of incompatibility. They can't tolerate each other, or they can't understand each other. One is not able to relate to the other, and all those things are there. Okay, there is a certain kind of expectation from each of them that you be this way, then things will be good for me. You be this way, things will be easy for me. All these expectations are that. All these grudges that we have, this non-forgiveness, and this hatred against each other, vengefulness, all comes from that. The failure of expectation. Please go deeper into these aspects when I am speaking. Don't just think, oh, I'll forgive, or let me do some mystical thing for the forgiveness. It will not happen. Understand all these things in detail. And so, when these things happen, it's very natural. It's okay to give space to people. There is no guilt consciousness, oh, this, that. Sometimes you can't remain in a relation and work it out. It's okay to give distance yourself. It's okay to cut off yourself. But the whole idea is, when you cut off also, go deeper into these aspects and look into these aspects. Look into the good qualities of that person and look into the helpless state of that. It might be of whatever. It might be jealousy that is springing up in a person. It might be some selfishness. It might be some other concern of that person. You will see through it. Your intuition will show it. Your so-called third eye will open up and show you everything. Everything it will show you. So it will become crystal clear to you why somebody is behaving that way. Then now, if that person is not able to understand you, or understand their own faults, because most of the time what happens is people don't realize their own faults. It's all blame. I've always seen that, when people want me to forgive them, they will not forgive, but the expectation is that you forgive. You are creating so much problem in this relation. And so, why these problems are there, why this separation is coming, why this lack of understanding and misunderstanding, and why this divisions, and why so much of distance and so many problems happening. Why, because you are unable to forgive. What about you, dear one? It's a mutual stuff. So, these are all the myths that we catch, that when people say, oh, this is all external stuff. It doesn't matter whether you are physically close to someone or not, whether you are in talking terms with someone or not, absolutely nothing. Forgiveness is when you cut that cords that is connecting you to that person, and that is making you feel jittery and feel guilty and feel angered, feel sorrowed, feel victimized, feel depressed. Are you in that state? If you are in that state, you have not forgiven. But if you are happy-go-lucky, even without that person, or that situation, or that incident, and it's all fine with you, then absolutely fine. So forgiveness is that. Forgiveness will liberate you, not in the society standard, not in the world. There are many people, many couples, many so-called married, happy-go-lucky, happy married for lifetime. Even in their 80s, I have seen couples who are happily married, and we say, wow. Just go deep into their life and they'll see that they have been frustrated with each other for their whole life, but they could not separate for many reasons. I can tell you, the research when it is done, the divorce, they say so many marriages happen, more than 50% end up in divorce, separation. The rest are 50% successful? No way. You do your studies, you go and see, find out what the research is saying. You'll see that in that large percent, even maybe out of that 50%, even 40% of them stay together because of some other cause. Not really because of love. They are always having grudge against each other. Something, incompatibility is there. It is because of their helplessness to separate. Due to whatever reason. Maybe they have a growing child. Now what to do? They have got to stay with each other. Or maybe the social status. Log kya kahenge in the society. We are all so reputed people. and everybody knows us. Now if we do this, it will cause a damage to our reputation, so we stick on with each other. So many families I've seen this. I've seen this in so many families, and even right now also I can see so many. So reasons can be many, or it can be like, insecurity. Like one partner will feel, well, where will I go? I'm helpless. No one to look after me. Okay, so I stick with this nut for long, for life, and live and adjust. So most of the marriages are adjustments. So don't go by the looks. It's all about the inner feeling. Do you have physical vicinity? Are you in connection with somebody very close physically, yet having remorse reactions to them, yet having vengeful reaction to them, yet having this grudge against them? That is also non-forgiveness, not just separation. So all those things don't matter, whether you're together, whether you're not together. It is all about liberating yourself from the clutches of these ties that you have with human lives. All karmic accounts. Your focus should be completely on, when will I dissolve this karmic account completely. Every tie, every single thread that is connected with me, every tie, even including the love ties, they are all attachments. Whom you hate is also attachment, because all the time you are connected to that person. And because you are connected, because there is an expectation. You should behave this way. Don't behave, oh no, I am having grudges. Expectation and connection, attachment ho gaya. The person you love, oh, I can't live without you. You have to be attachment. I expect love. You have been giving me love. Continue giving me love. Expectation. I'm getting love. Attachment. Both are attachment. A wise seeker, a practical seeker on the path of liberation will understand the science. It is all about mukt hona, getting freedom from all these ties and cutting off one by one all these ties. It is not about patch up. People think, forgiveness means patch up. Oh, the thing has happened. Forgiveness has not happened because they have not patched up. They are divorced. They are separated. And they are forgiven? Not forgiven. They are continued their lives. Who said so? With forgiveness, you can actually continue life. I mean, most of the time, to tell you the truth, actual forgiveness happens when people move on with their lives. Because that is the time they have really forgiven, and they are now able to move on with what they want to do. Crazy, right? This is what awareness can do. It can dissect into all these things and see it, if you want to see it. Okay, so that patch up thing also is a hoax that you need. I have seen so many people patching up and yet remaining very non-forgiving. People come up, after divorces, people get together, family get together, they patch them up and okay, fine, let us do it for the child or something, and they compromise and they continue living now in more deep grudges and non-forgiveness. What has the patch up done? Many friends come together back for some sake, something, they were feeling they were missing each other, something. They come back, but they are unable to continue with that. So what is better? Moving on is better or holding on to that? We must understand this science. There's nothing wrong with forgiving and moving on. It is a hoax if somebody says forgiveness means togetherness. You have to be back. Are you getting it? And how will you know you are forgiven? I'm telling you this. Experiment with yourself. Next time, when you are closing your eyes and thinking, does it trigger you? Does it give you jitters? Does it give you hatred? Does it give you some different sensation? Does it increase your breath? Does it activate your sweat glands? Does it make you nervous? Does it make you scared? Then you are not forgiven. But if you can think of that person, or when next time you see that person, can you go and just talk or give a smile to that person or go and hug that person? If you have done it, my dear, rejoice, you have forgiven. I can relate with this because I can do this with people whom so-called, I'm condemned as non-forgiveness is there. It is there. Because forgiveness is not external. What you do external. External, many people don't move on and don't patch up with each other because they know they can give rise to another problem because the understanding has not been solved. Many times what happens is the other side, the other person is unable to understand, unable to get beyond something. So what you do is you forgive. Okay, fine. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean that you are going to get a beautiful reaction, and all change, goody things going to happen. You try it. You might go to that person with an open heart, but that person will still have grudges or something else, or maybe that lesson is not learned. Those previous incident which they repeated with you, they can repeat it again because they have not gone beyond it, and that's none of your problem if they have not gone beyond it. They'll look into it. So if you actually go and try to be again, you can end up with the same situation again, which your awareness will tell you it's okay, safe distance is okay, or moving on is okay. That is why many people move on when they see that there cannot be a mutual solution, and it is a hoax to tell that forgiveness means mutual understanding, because we cannot control other people. Please understand this. Mutual understanding means we cannot control the other person's thought patterns. We can change only ourselves. So how is that a mutual thing? I can only expect the other person to change, and expectation is again a problem. It will lead to attachment and misery, because if they don't fulfill my expectation, again I got miserable. Why not understand the science and completely get off that karmic debt with them? This is how you liberate. One by one, all the aspects in your life you see, including your loved ones. Everybody, you have to practice this in your lifetime. That is when by the end of lifetime you can say Vairaga gaya. And I am telling you, I have practiced all these things, and reaching a certain level of understanding and a great level of success, so called. This is my success in life. I can relate to this, and I am very happy. And I am very happy because many people struggle with tyag, renunciation. They are unable to renounce because of all these muck. Whole life they spend in wrong impressions and ideas of all these so-called definitions. Like forgiveness, if you don't understand this, whole life you'll spend in doing something else, and by the end of life you'll come to know your strings are still attached. Those grievances are still there. By the time if it is too late, then tata, bye-bye, come back again. Next lifetime, let us play another game. And sit doing. Who has the time for this? I mean, a serious seeker on the path of liberation will never want to risk all these things. They will want to go very seriously into all this. And they mean it. They mean their path. And they mean no harm when you do this. Yet another myth is you're stone-hearted when you do this. You have not forgiven because, how can you move like this? You are... it's okay, Baba. You understand how life functions. Not necessary that always your expectation is fulfilled the way you want it. The way you want me to live life. That's your definition of forgiveness. Well, if it works out good for you, it's fine. For me, this is working out very good. So I have never gone in my life to, the patch up thing and, a compromise thing and talk over and dealing. For me, I understood all those things are external. If that happens, very well and good, but that should be secondary. That should not be the primary solution. Primary, you do this, and then secondary, if that happens, very well and good, fine. If that is good compatibility, if you can understand and both can go together, get on well together, and live a life in completion, or what better than that? But it should not lead you to another episode where you fall into such deep regrets and remorse and grievances. I hope this video is very clear on the term of forgiveness. There are many other methods which I have used to enhance this forgiveness, but many are my tools, many are inner deep tools. So if this much has helped you in your understanding, because I believe the people who watch these videos are much more advanced in their understanding, so this will help you. But in any case, if you are still feeling that, after all this also, you feeling this, you can book a consultation, because there only I'll be able to help you in dealing with that inner aspects of like what I can't share it on public. It cannot be done. So there it is wise. Otherwise, if you feel this is fine, God bless you. Stay blessed. Until next time, may we all evolve, and much divine love and light to you. Stay blessed.